Welcome back to the Event Exchange. I'm Jody Wallace, CEO and founder of EMC Meetings and Events, and here today with Reggie Aggarwal from Cvent, CEO and founder. So welcome, Reggie.
Well, thanks for having me, Jody. I'm excited to be here.
It's an honor. I appreciate the time. And today we're going to talk with Reggie a lot about Cvent and our partnership with Cvent. And so my first question I'd like to ask you, Reggie, is tell us how Cvent came to be.
Okay.
And I'm really curious in the name, too.
Sure.
How you named it.
That's funny. Everyone always asks that
Cvent.
question.
Oh, do they really?
Yeah.
But tell me a little bit about why, how. We're 25-year anniversary, yay. And you're 27?
Yeah, we started in 99.
99.
Yeah. So very close in terms of age and probably progression. But look, I was actually, I'll give you a quick background. I was actually a corporate lawyer before I started Cvent. But I always had a passion for events in college and in law school. And what happened was I was practicing law in Washington, D.C. I started a nonprofit. And the nonprofit got together executives. And it started with a handful of about 30 or 40. And we were doing it once a quarter. Then I started to get hundreds. And then we started doing events 10, 12 times a year. And finally, I was doing 30 or 40 events a year. Still working full-time as a corporate lawyer. And so I was kind of the secretary, the event planner, and the president of the organization all at once. And my tools, by the way, were Excel, Outlook, and yellow sticky notes, which we all remember back. This is
Yes.
I'm going to date myself. This is in the late 90s.
Yeah.
So anyways, organizing all these events, and then I said I needed something, there's too much pain, so I needed the aspirin. And that aspirin was Cvent. So I just created a basic event registration system just to register people, to market to them. And that's basically, how I started the company, which is pretty natural for most entrepreneurs, as you know, as an entrepreneur, which is find a pain point and create the aspirin. And that was it.
Wow. That and the name?
And the name came from, so funny enough, I learned something. So a very close friend of mine worked at a company called MicroStrategy.
Okay.
And some of you I know of it because now it's the largest Bitcoin owner in the world. Okay, so the co-founder was the co-founder of that nonprofit I started. So we were buddies, knew each other. We started that, but he had built a pretty big company. So I would learn a lot from MicroStrategy because at the time they're still are a very successful company. Anyways, branding is what he told me is the two or three things. So the first thing is you want to pick a name that's short, so people don't have a difficult time spelling it. So like MicroStrategy, it's a lot of letters. You got to think about it. So pick something short. So 5 letters, Cvent. The second thing is pick a concept that's kind of like what Amazon is. Imagine if Jeff Bezos called Amazon, books online, because they originally sold books.
That's right.
So you kind of pigeon yourself. So how do you pick something that's an empty vessel? So Cvent is kind of an empty vessel. I could sell mobile phones, right? It kind of reminds you of event.
Well, event,
But-
V-E-N-T, right?
Yeah, but it's the C, so it's not a word. So Cvent is just, you can make it what you want. So it kind of reminded you of event, but we could expand. And in the beginning, as I mentioned, we were an online registration system.
Right.
Now we're a much more holistic platform that does lots of things beyond just event registration. So I'm glad we named it kind of an open vessel so it doesn't get limited. And like I said, the way the name came about was just simple. There was a guy who was an intern, and we hired a PR agency, and we spent a lot of money to name us. They came up with some really weird names, including Captain Reg was actually one of their names. And anyways, but make a long story short, he
Maybe
came
you
up
should
with the
have told me
name.
that.
Yeah, came with the name Cvent. I think we gave him a little bit of stock, which hopefully he did okay in, and then that's how we came up with the name.
I love it.
Yeah.
What a great story, and what a great way to segue into, the product. And I can remember back in my day running an agency. It's our 25-year anniversary running our agency, as I mentioned. And I remember Reggie running around the country selling his product.
The product seminars.
Yes.
Yep, you remember them, Jody.
And so
I remember.
tell me a little bit about that, because and those days, because you had the one product.
Yeah.
And you were selling it and successfully selling it, as we know. And how did you now, after, out there marketing, selling, started staffing, and then all of a sudden started introducing so many new and additional products? Like tell me
Sure.
a little bit about how that progression
Sure.
from you in the classroom.
Yeah.
I bought from you. That's,
Yeah.
he was a good salesperson. I bought the product and been using it ever since. So how did all that happen?
So look, what I would tell you, and I'll give you a little bit of the progression of the company, is that the first thing I'll tell you as an entrepreneur is try to become the best at what you do. So don't try to go after the whole world. I think too many, I'll just tell you, software companies try to go global too quickly, for example. And so what we did is we were very, very particular. We did online event registration. We did it domestically, only the U.S. and Canada, okay? And then we only worked with the mid-market size companies, because as you start going to enterprise companies, their demands are a lot more complex, and you want to do something kind of simple. So we started in that, and we kind of just try to become the best in that. And as we became what we thought was the market leader in that, then we started to evolve into other areas. So one of the things we did is, and again, we still didn't go international at the point. What we did do is introduce other products. So one of our next products, we did that for almost about, if you believe it, Jody, 9 years. That's all we did. And so we built what I call the tree trunk straight.
Okay.
And then you have a foundational kind of product, be the best at what you do, have lots of clients that are hopefully happy, you know, and then they'll give you a lot of ideas. You gave us tons of ideas, you remember, because you're in the market, you're seeing stuff that your customers want, and then you just kind of listen to your customers, all right? And basically, our customers were telling us that, hey, we want something, for example, for sourcing to help us find venues when you were looking through to get venues for your events. And so then we built our product called the Cvent Supplier Network. And then, for example, then mobile came out. And when mobile came out, you know, this was in 2011. Mobile became hot with everyone having an iPhone or you know, any type of mobile device. And that came as a natural thing because, again, we just listened to the market, listened to our customers.
Okay.
And so what we did is we try, and whenever we did something, we didn't do too many products at once. We try to become really good in that product and become the market leader. Our goal was to be the market leader in every product we did. But then underlying, have it as one platform. And then eventually we did our on-site tools, you know, because as you come to an event, you want to check people in through the iPad, things like that. And then it went to, you know, a more difficult time was then virtual during the pandemic. So part of it's a little bit of reaction to what technology is coming out. Like think about mobile came out, that made it possible. Our virtual technology came out because of the pandemic. So it kind of evolved. And then in between, we had a lot of other interesting things as we started getting more enterprise customers, as you know. What ended up happening is we started to embrace strategic meetings management and creating the tools around that, compliance and budgeting, you know, things that are important for larger organizations. But it took us a good 10 years before we did that. And that's kind of been our thing, is to evolve.
Intentional growth.
Intentional growth. And then we didn't go international for about 10 years.
Really?
Yeah, because, you know, we have a saying at Cvent, it's just as sexy to sell in Buffalo as it is in Paris.
Oh, I like that.
And so, which means that, you know, as an organization, you want to go to these really cool places, but to support international is not easy. You know, with your technology, it has to be different, VAT taxes, speaking international languages.
That's true.
You know, it's complicated.
barriers.
So it's about I think a throttled growth to make sure you're really good where you are before you jump to the next step.
Right. And now, Reggie, you're what, #1 in the world?
I mean, yeah, I think we're market leader. We've now grown to about 6,000 people around the world, and we power close to, you know, we power about 30,000 plus organizations. So
I didn't want to do it, but somebody had to.
Yeah, that was probably our strategy.
Well, congratulations.
Thank you.
And of course, Cvent is a partner of EMC Meetings and Events, and without Cvent, we would not have grown in partnership with you. And we were right along back in the day with Reggie from attendee registration, as we mentioned, first product we bought. And
Jody,
then-
I still remember our first times when you would
Which
come
one?
back. You'd give directly feedback to me and to our, not just our team. And you met many times with Dave, who's one of our
Yes,
co-founders
that's- oh
and
my
our
goodness, that's
our
right.
chief technology officer. And so I think what's great is both our journeys have been very, very fortuitous. And you've been a fantastic customer and a partner because, again, a lot of the things you were seeing, I remember you were very, very open about sharing it with us and helping drive a lot of our map. And I always said to you, like, we're your outsourced division. Just tell us what you want built, and we'll do our best to build it.
Yeah, but you lived up to that, though.
Yeah, we tried.
Yeah, and I'm actually on one of their strategic initiatives boards. So we sit around a room, and we make a lot of noise for Reggie and all the things we wish and our wants. And but you do listen, and you come out with that.
Well, that's what really makes a partnership work.
Yeah. You know, one of my favorite products you came out with?
Oh, what was that?
Want to guess?
Boy, we have so many of them now. I would say the on-site tools.
Yes.
Is that right?
Yes.
All right.
Badges. Oh my gosh.
Oh.
I mean, like, why didn't someone think of that before?
Yeah.
That was like the most, one of the, definitely the mobile app and the
Yeah.
attendee reg. But once we got on
Yeah.
track with the tools, what's next year, Reggie? What's next
Yeah.
year? And when on-demand badge printing came out, I mean, can you imagine we would be at an event,
Oh, yeah.
with trays that held 50 badges.
Yep.
And, 500 of them, and God forbid one fell on the
Yeah.
floor, right?
Yeah.
But,
Or someone
God.
walks in,
Or
and you got to give the old
And someone that doesn't know how to
black marker.
alphabetize.
That's right.
But that was what
It's amazing, by the way, badges, how important it is. I mean,
is.
like
Simple as it
people,
sounds.
yes, it's a real symbol. They collect them, and how you print them. It's been an it's its own little cottage industry, by the way,
Yeah.
as you know.
Yeah, for sure. Anything I should know about next?
In terms of
Product?
different things we have, look, what I would tell you is if I had to pick the kind of the biggest things that we're doing in the future, look, it is something that I think a lot of people have heard about, which is AI. AI is driving, everything. And you and I talked about this earlier, that,
Right.
Every investor, every board, and therefore every CEO, and then every management, everyone's trying to understand AI. And we're certainly no different, and I think people are looking to us as a leader. We have a product that's called Cvent IQ, which is kind of our collective AI products that are out there in the market, and we've been very, very diligent about investing. I'll just tell you, we've diverted a lot of our energy into building these tools because we do believe that it is the real deal. A lot of people think that AI is, a fad. It's not a fad, clearly. It's definitely going to have a major impact, and I think a positive impact. And so we're putting a disproportionate energy in that. And I'll give you kind of a little bit about some of the examples. So one is you have different segments. So first, you can do stuff for the planner, right? For the direct customer. You can do stuff for the attendees. You can do stuff for the organizer, right? The company itself. So there's different constituents, and I think with having AI infused within all our products will give all of them a benefit. So as an example, from a planner view, for example, when you, let's say, want to support international events, with our AI now, we're going to be able to translate our websites pretty instantly so that let's say you set up an event that's happening in Paris, and you have people coming from, from Morocco all the way from, whatever country, from Hong Kong, so you can do stuff in different language a lot easier. Before it was extraordinarily difficult to do.
Right.
Just as an example, leveraging AI. Or it could be when you're sourcing, you're now able to put natural language. We just are coming out with that in beta, so you can
that
write
I
natural
like.
language, and it can give you, different venue types. If you're an attendee, you can have when you're looking at the mobile app, you can starting about chatting with it to say, hey, what do you wear for the dinner tomorrow night? Where is it? Just the basic information that they're calling the planners all the time with details. So it makes it easier for the attendee. You can go to one place
And
search it. And it just
Yes.
makes it so that you guys can spend more time on strategic things. And so there's so many different things that we're doing. But that's really, I would have to say, that's by far the biggest thing we're doing is everything's being infused with AI.
Yeah. I can remember a few years ago when they were talking about the trend of AI, and I was using some of these examples. Can you imagine if we can go onto AI and have a report tell us what it means, and
That's another
and
great area,
slice
the
and
insight. Oh,
dice
yeah.
it? Oh my goodness, and or take minutes over a period of a month and consolidate it into a top list.
And it gives you
action list.
the at least some analytics behind it to give you a recommendation on how you should how you should do your next event based on the feedback.
Yeah. Do you think it will have any effect on human connection and live events?
So actually I do, and let me just tell you a couple things. I'm a big proponent of AI in the sense where I think what's happening is that more and more organizations are actually turning to in-person. Because as we get more digitized, things become less personal. Even though they're personal, they can personalize things in digitization. It's not the same thing as being personal. And if you look from a 5-10 year view, eventually you can be on a Zoom with somebody, and it doesn't have to be them, and you don't even know. So that trust economy is going to be built with live events because so many things of that trust, and I'm not just talking about relationship trust, I'm talking about real trust. You don't even
Interesting.
people are getting jobs, they're doing a Zoom interview, it's not that same candidate. There's all kinds of stuff that's going on. So when you meet people in person, there's a different relationship and a different trust that's built. So what I think is going to happen is that one, it's going to make in-person events even more important for organizations. That's kind of number one. Number two, I think with AI, it's also going to make them much more effective. So what happens is that you can find out, like, what is your goal? Like, you're going to this event for 2 days, let's say. What is your goal? Who do you want to meet? What kind of people? What is the best content that's geared towards you? How do I, even when I see that content, then how do I make sure I take notes? We have products now that you can basically, I like that PowerPoint. You're not sitting there taking a picture of it. You can get the content in 1
saw me
second,
do
take
that?
a note. What's that?
You saw me do
Yeah,
that.
yeah. I've seen you do it at our events, as you know, when we announce that. And so, but it makes the event actually more effective,
Yeah.
for you. So therefore, the value of the event is more higher. So not only do I think the industry is you're going to do more of them because of that trust economy, that relationship building, and everything being digitized.
Yeah.
This is the last bastion of that human connection. And again, it's remote, all the remote workforces. When you combine that with the fact that the events can be more efficient with AI and making the attendee experience better, then I think that's going to continue to drive the in-person as being a very valuable way to build relations.
So just some trends I'm seeing, and love to hear your thoughts on trends. Facial recognition, during check-in,
Sure, yeah.
or maybe to move into a, the general session room, and and you get flagged if you're if
So
it's not
it's
you.
funny. We did a pilot with facial recognition. I'll just tell you, this was before the pandemic. We did it with Amazon, and we did it. It worked pretty good, but it never really caught on. Just because we did it with them, and I remember we were going to try to productize something, and it didn't catch on back then. But I think now,
with
people
airports,
with airports, the technology is advanced because it was a little bit. You had to get your face in the perfect area. People felt a little less comfortable. But look, I think as certain technology, progresses in the consumer side, then opens the way for enterprise or business side. So I do think that's something that's becoming more and more popular. And you're going to see that, especially when you have large conferences and you're trying to get through people quickly.
or just to recognize who is walking into space without maybe all that.
Well, you can get the data.
Technology,
like there's a lot of data, companies that have been doing this for a long time, and they hadn't really taken off where they can look at the people coming, look at their facial expressions, tell your people having a good time.
Yes.
Still, still working through that. I remember meeting with a company that was doing that, and they've been doing it for a long time. But I think a lot of this stuff is going to change with AI because they can collect so much information.
The one thing, and I'll share an item my customers always are asking of late is, how do we build a community? And when I speaking the community, so like Cvent, like your large event, and then next year you have it again. But how do we bridge the event to the next event?
So that's great. That's kind of making the event live longer.
Yes.
Right. And I think that's a big push for a lot of organizations, which is how do you create that community?
Right.
So there's a number of things you can do. So one is you just make the content more easily accessible.
Okay.
So for example, as we have products that do that so that, because it's not just, first let's start with you as the attendee. You attend an event, there's 2 or 3 sessions going on at once, or you miss one, you can go back after the event to get that content, right? Number one. Or you could even see which one is up. It's kind of like Netflix, like this is the most popular out of the 50 sessions. These are the 3 most highly rated. So you can go back and see those ones because maybe you didn't go to that session. But it's making the content more accessible and making it so that you get more out of it. And you can send it to your peers who didn't go to the event, and they can say, hey, this is some great content on some of these events. So that's kind of number one. The second thing is building the community is how do you bridge between this event and next? So there's a lot of concepts out there where basically what you can do is, it's like a buyer's journey. You're following their journey between different events. And what I can tell you with what one of the things we're trying to build is we're trying to help organizations bridge that community so they can come back to a site, and when they log in, it can tell you, hey, these are the people you met before. This is the content you saw before. This is the new content you're seeing. And it just basically helps you tie it longer than just the 2 days or a day or 3 days that you're at the event.
Right.
And then as people start repeating, you're able to build deeper profile information, which allows you to serve up better content for them and saying, these are the sessions you should attend to because you went to this session, you rated it this. Let me tell you about these other sessions. So there's stuff that technology is going to be able to leverage to help that attendee who gets overwhelmed, especially in these larger conferences.
Yeah.
But even the smaller ones, just help them engage more.
Yeah, love it. RFID, expensive oftentimes.
Yeah.
And is there any less expensive solution coming out with AI? Maybe
You know-
facial recognition? I mean, where is that going as far as really understanding the traffic, the movement, really understanding the attendee journey on the floor?
I think what you're going to start seeing is one is a lot of it's hardware, which
Okay.
you know is a large part of the cost. The hardware and having the people come up and set it up.
Yes.
So the unfortunate is it's a software delivered, let's say over the web, then you can take costs down. But when it's hardware and you're delivering it, but what I will tell you that I think a couple models. One is I think hotels and large venues need to start considering investing in it themselves. So it's just
Oh, I love that.
it's just in there because it's just expected if you go to a convention center. Like just invest the money one time to have, you know, the infrastructure in there. So that's something that I think some venues are thinking about and saying as this gets to become more mainstream technology, and it is very expensive if you want to try to map,
Right.
you know, an entire, let's say, convention floor, or if you go to a small mid-sized hotel. So that's one thing. The second thing is I think as popularity grows, it just everything drives down cost because as it grows, you can get more usage out of it. You would charge less to rent
Yeah.
it.
Yeah.
So I do think that as that becomes more mainstream, you're going to have a double way of driving it down. Some hotels will have it. There'll be a competitive advantage that you say, hey, instead of spending this much money on renting the equipment, you have it in there. That's going to be a reason that I'm going to choose your hotel.
Yeah.
And I think that will start driving some behavior with other venues saying, I need to
Yeah.
have it.
I love that.
So I think that
I
will
would
be
love to
kind of
see
the mid to
that.
longer term thing
Yeah.
that I think could happen.
Yeah. Holograms?
You know, it was funny. At one of my keynotes, we used a hologram, and
you?
yeah, it was right.
And what'd you think?
It was pretty cool. You know, hasn't completely caught on. I think there's still work to do. And again, we could always say, I guess AI will make it better, which I'm sure it will. But I
Yeah.
don't know. But I think that will be something that is interesting. But I will tell you one thing that I think we just did our global town hall, and we did something like something not a hologram, but we did it where you had the AI create. We just wanted to test it.
Yeah.
Where you know AI creates, let's say me, and then it delivers my presentation. And even though it wasn't so, you know, it wasn't as accurate. Let's say it's 90% good, but I think people didn't love it. I think they like the human connection. You know.
Yeah.
Because now maybe in the future it's so good that you can't tell the difference. But I'm still going to go back to I think you know those are pretty neat concepts.
Yeah.
But to do it as a scalable thing, let's say at an event, let's say there's 40 speakers, okay, a couple. I think it'd be novelty,
Yeah.
it'd be cool.
Yeah.
But I still think that people like to see people in person, and I think, but it is a neat thing to do.
Yeah. Yeah. I was at a Margaritaville the other day.
Uh huh.
And they had a little stage there, and I said, "Oh, wouldn't it be amazing?" You know, and tell me his name. I'm going to forget his name. Margaritaville.
Oh, Jimmy Buffett.
Oh my
yeah.
gosh! Wouldn't it be so cool up on stage on a hologram? You know, he's not with us anymore. If he was singing,
Now that would be cool.
right?
Yeah, that's a different because he's not with us.
Yes.
And he's someone that famous.
But
and
wouldn't
it's
that,
affiliated.
and
Yeah.
be able to see him like
Yeah.
almost like you were seeing him
Yeah.
live, but it's a hologram. Anyway, I should probably send the owner Margaritaville that thought. I've noticed at your events a really strong support, and almost like in support I mean how an agency can grow, how they can sell and use the product. And of course, I was in that arena for so many years. I do it automatically, but I was very impressed by that. Tell me a little bit about that strategy and how you are supporting agencies like ours
Yeah.
to get us to a point where we understand and can use the product, feel comfortable with it, so we can resell it. you
Yeah,
know?
I think look, our view is that we're a software company, right?
Mm-hmm.
We're a technology company, and we want to provide software for our clients. So number one is kind of try to be the best you can in that. You know, is not I would say as limiting areas you can, but in our case, we wanted to be a platform, but in technology. So our kind of not just go to market, but the way our whole business runs is we know that so many of our clients love agencies, right? Because they support things that we don't. And what we've decided to do is support our agencies because they're going to have that human element that we just don't have, and they don't know
Scale.
the not just scale, just they know the client better. They have a different
Yeah.
relationship, and so then we've embraced that model, which is to empower our partners like you on how to leverage technology. Let us do the technology. Tell us what to build, Tell us what your customers are wanting. And again, as we talked about, you guys are no stranger to giving us feedback on things that your customers want to make you more effective. So we've chosen that strategy very purposefully because we think that's the right thing to do for a client, because we're never going to be able to service a customer the same way. And so then that's what we've done, and it's worked really well, as you know, and that's why both of our companies has grown together. And
it's my favorite. It's my favorite part of going to Cvent Connect now.
Oh, that's
just to sit with my peers. And to feel special, all of us in the room together, and to share ideas, pain points, solutions. It's amazing how you've brought us together in a non-competitive way to do just that.
Well, I think that's what's great. People like you are very open-minded towards saying, hey, let's share best practices. It's good for the industry. I'll learn some stuff, I'll share some stuff, but in the end, if our industry grows together, if we collectively as agencies get really good at our job, then that's better for our clients ultimately, and it creates a sustainable model. And so I think that's the right way to do it.
Yeah, I love that. I love that. Tell me, what has you excited about the future?
Whoa, a lot. So, again, I'll say a couple things. One is I'm very bullish on events being a core part of marketing strategy. I think there's so much data that will tell you that events is becoming the number one ROI channel besides next to your website in terms of driving the behavior, whether it's for your external events for customers and prospects, or even internally to build that engagement with your employees or your other stakeholders. So that's number one. We're very confident of that because there's so much data that shows that. And I think you're going to continue to see that get more, again, as we get more digitization and as we get more impersonal in our workforce with remote and just the way we do business, that it's going to become a defining way to really separate companies of creating that that kind of relationship. I will tell you that when you build relationships with clients, I like to say that when people go to events, that's where, let's say, let's say our Cvent Connect, which is our customer event, where we see that's where our customers get religion about our products. And what's changing in the future is branding is becoming even more important because it's so hard to decipher between so many solutions in so many areas. So brands become more important than less important, even with AI, which is a lot different than what people thought. So again, I'm going to stress that I'm very excited about the future of the event industry and where it's going to go. That's number one. Number two, I am super excited about AI. And I'm excited because it's good for our customers, for our attendees, for the organization who organizes events, for all the stakeholders. It makes it more effective, more efficient. They get more data. It delivers more personalization and a higher ROI for attendees. And if people embrace it, they're going to get all those constituents happier. And so it doesn't replace them. It makes it more.
Yes.
It makes it more
intelligent.
Yeah, exactly
Faster.
right. And then you're able to
would
get
there
the data
eventually.
driven. That's exactly. And so those are probably the couple things that I'm probably most excited about. And look, I'll just tell you, there's so much energy right now going on in not just our industry, but the things that as organizations we can do to help our clients. And I'll tell you, that's what gets me excited every day.
Yeah, me too. The geek that we both are.
Yeah.
Really, technology has really been my growth provider, in the company. It's been the reason we've grown as fast as we have. I've always been about efficiency, technology, and it's just so great to have you here today and talk about it. It's, you're a great friend, you're a great partner.
And Jody, I got to tell you, thank you for being a client for so long. It's been 22 years.
Yes.
And again, you remember the people that believed in us when we were young and early.
Yeah.
And so thank you, because you'd been running your business. I know you had just started it also. But you had a lot of experience before you even started the agency. And so for us, you were an invaluable, not just partner, but friend. And at all the industry events, it was just great to know that you build a different fabric than just a customer-partner relationship.
Yes.
And so thank you for that.
Yes, well, thank you.
I'm excited for you guys. 25 years is a long time.
I know, and you heard it from today, Reggie Aggarwal, the future of event technology here today. So, and stay tuned. We'll be following up down the road as well as new product comes out. So thank you for joining us today. And I always close when events get brighter, the company grows.